Okay, since technology wasn't as accessible back then, would you say how hard was it to plagiarize?
I guess by back then, you're referring to the 80s, way back then?
Yes.
Okay. I would say it was probably actually easier to plagiarize because I know plenty of people that would just go to the library and maybe grab some obscure dictionary or encyclopedia for a research paper and just copy word for word. And I guess unless that professor had knowledge of that particular book, there's no way anyone was going to find out that you actually copied from it. Where today, there's a lot more programs that I'm sure professors can put in to just do word searches, and it will tell you if they can find that grouping attack someplace else on the web. So it's probably a lot easier to do it 20, 30 years ago than it is currently.
Okay. Do you think that people frown upon plagiarism as much as they did nowadays?
Oh, definitely. No matter how you look at it, you're stealing someone else's ideas and you're cutting corners and cheating. I don't think that's really changed much over the years. I think cheating is cheating, and it's always been viewed the same.
So what did you hear about from the grad student today?
Well, today we interviewed a graduate student at the University of Alabama regarding her opinion about the grading and plagiarism policy. She believed it is important to closely watch and report for plagiarism, but by saying that, it also becomes a burden to look out for plagiarism throughout the class. Graduate students usually have to deal with freshmen, and oftentimes that's hard just because they're really unaware of how college works. Some graduate students believe the punishment of plagiarism is harsh for freshman students. Exclusion of the student may be a little bit too much, especially when freshmen coming in don't really have an idea of what to expect. Maybe it should just result in a 0 of the assignment. For instance, one of the students we plagiarized admitted to plagiarism in high school. However, college is a whole nother level. Being a part of that transition for graduate assistants is quite difficult.
Have you ever turned in work done by another?
I turned in a history project from Wikipedia. Basically, it was just a Wikipedia article on a poster board because, yeah, it was the 11th hour. This was 10th grade or something, and I just needed to get it done real quick. So I straight up copied and pasted it and turned it in and got caught and called out on it. But I actually got a decent grade. Not that plagiarism is good or anything, but if you present it well, it's not the worst thing ever.
Have you ever paraphrased without citing the source?
Again, I do not support plagiarism, but my preferred method to plagiarize is I've done this often enough and never been, I don't know, I feel like I'm giving advice on how to do this instead of saying these are bad things, but I like to find a source and kind of copy from it and take some of its ideas and everything, and then cite a different source so that if you look at that source, you don't see the same, you see the same things, but they're not written in a similar way. Because it's hard sometimes not to emulate a style, and so you emulate the one style and then you say, oh, that wasn't the style I was looking at. I came up with that on my own completely. I was looking at this.
Okay. So have you known anyone else that's also committed plagiarism?
This is kind of like a dual thing. This was a team effort because I believe in teamwork. I was in my Spanish class, 11th grade in high school or something. I guess my teacher doesn't really matter, but it was a time for a test, and I was doing pretty good in the class, and this other guy knew that I was doing pretty good. So he came to me and was like, hey man, can I copy your test? I'll pay you $10 to copy it. And I was like, it sounds like a good deal to me. And I was like, well, here's how it's going to go. If that works, you go up and get my paper out of the turn-in pile, pretending to turn yours in, go back to your seat, copy it, and then turn both of ours in. And that'd be fine with me. And he was like, okay, so he paid me the $10. I did my test. I looked at him before I turned it in. He's caught my eye. I turned mine in. He went up there after a little bit, got mine, went back, did his, and then went up there when a bunch of people were turning their test in, so it didn't look like he was going up there twice. You know, she wasn't paying attention. Ended up though, we both got in trouble, but you know, the way that I had set it up didn't really make sense for me to get in trouble. So I actually raised I took the moral high ground, even though I really didn't have the moral high ground, and I was like, hey, you know, I didn't know that he was going to go do that.
All right, have you ever turned in work done by another person before?
No, I was always too scared of getting caught because they always said you would get Fs and then you would fail out of classes, and I was too scared of that.
All right, but have you ever paraphrased about citing the source? Because that's also a form of plagiarism.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's really annoying when you want to just take one sentence from like an internet source or something, and you have like 20 sources and you have to go in MLA format and cite everything. So you just kind of pretend like it came from another source. It's way easier. I found that cheating plagiarism is usually pretty accepted among the student body, and like people just sit in the back of classes and work on tests together, and they'll go on their phones and check them like in their pockets and stuff.
I interviewed a professor today here at the University of Alabama, and I asked him how he feels about plagiarism. Many professors look at college and expect college students to be adults. Therefore, they believe that morally students shouldn't engage in plagiarism. However, there's oftentimes cases that result in 1 or 2 lines of plagiarism. Today when I was interviewing with my professor, that's what he mentioned. He talked about how he believes that students should be ethical in their work and morally not plagiarize, just because that's how adults would view it. When interviewing the professor today, I realized that students need to understand and gain that moral value within themselves.